进攻是 OK 的。小黄道这边是，
这个一个榴弹直接把
근데 킬은 광주 전하잖아요.
깨져가지고
다 버텼어요. 다 버텼어요.
看艾琳了，艾琳这边必须要找克百合，把他限制住。这一梭子，哇！
다음에 쓸 수 있죠.
그리고 바로 리콘 놔버리기 위한 진짜 공격.
이러면 눈보라도 아낄 수 있는 상황이라서 하나가 정리하고 이 지점.
Alrighty, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another evening of Overwatch League action. I am Achilles, joined by Wolf, and we are here to bring you the best of the best, the APAC matches. And, oh boy, we've got some interesting ones here tonight, Wolf.
Yeah, and it is, of course, important to mention that we have 3 matches tonight. The schedule obviously can change from time to time. Achilles and I are going to be casting all 3 matches tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at our standings, though, so far here for the Countdown Cup. A far cry from what we saw in the Summer Showdown, with Hunters in the lead, 3-0 +5 map differential above Shanghai Dragons, who will be playing, of course, later tonight, so that could change. We're very early on, but the Hunters have played 3 matches. They've won all 3. They've looked pretty dominant, and it's a very different tournament this month.
I mean, it very much is. The Guangzhou Charge currently sitting there at 5th place, 1-1. They're going to be looking to take a victory here in our first series of the evening, but so is the Seoul Dynasty, who has yet to pick up a victory so far here for the Countdown Cup. I mean, we're into the month of August now, Wolf. It is officially August 1st in North America. It's already been August 1st there in South Korea, where you're at. It's time for Dynasty to start picking up some wins. They've gotten close from time to time, but it has still just been very rough for them this whole season throughout.
Well, we got to talk about Seoul Dynasty's crazy starting lineup.
That we do.
To just go ahead and, jump right into it. You'll notice Spitz is back in the lineup. Okay, that's something we noticed we were missing last week. But because, as you were saying, Prophet is playing tank. And because he's listed as the second tank, you would assume flex tank here, especially because Gesture is in with him. But this is an unusual move. Let's just say.
It is. It is. And, I mean, the one thing that kind of comes to mind is, I guess he's playing Zarya? But is that something that they want to, be able to have to run for an entire map? This obviously could just be a control strategy. They are going to be starting on Oasis. But it's really interesting to see Seoul change something up this drastically with Prophet being swapped into the tank line. Obviously, from the side of New York Excelsior, we've seen Hawksall move back into a support so he can play the Brigida that basically, got him the Rookie of the Year last year. But this is a major transition for Prophet.
Yeah, I mean, if it is the Zarya, I could see, especially if it's just for control, I could see it making a lot of sense. But if he's going to be playing Sigma for double shield with Gestures Orisa, something like that, that's
when things get a little weird.
Yeah, that's where you don't have pre-existing synergy. That's when you're going to be competing with Krong, who's the best Sigma in the league, probably, at this moment in time. There's some other good Sigmas out there competing with him. Hanbin, Choi Ho-bin, for example, Void. But, I feel like you're pushing it. If you're not going to put Prophet on Zarya, if he's going to play in something else, like if he's playing Diva or Sigma, I am a little bit concerned. Let's move into Guangzhou's starting lineup, though, and talk about their very normal starting 6, where nothing is weird and nothing is strange, and it's a strong lineup that won our Summer Showdown. So, you expect them coming in with this lineup to be the favorites, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Eileen, Happy, Rio, Krong, Char, and Shu. Obviously, we still have Neptuno and Nero, who are currently abroad, not in South Korea with the squad, because they are getting ready to re-up their visas yet again so that they can stay in South Korea for the entire duration of the playoffs. So some pre-planning there for the Guangzhou Charge. But even then, I mean, through the Summer Showdown, this lineup did extremely well for Guangzhou. They had a very rocky start coming in for the Countdown Cup, but they do have that 1-to-1 score line. They were able to level out a little bit more. Now they're looking to continue stepping in the right direction and stacking up those victories again to try and climb up to where Chengdu is at, which is such a weird sentence.
Yeah, it certainly is kind of a weird sentence, Achilles. But, I mean, look, this is a team that's done well in the Genji meta. They've done well in double shields. They've got a great Sombra player in Eileen, so Sombra is definitely in their wheelhouse. There's not really anything this team can't do. And they're pretty consistent, right? I mean, you've even got Happy on the lineup who can play great hit scan and Widowmaker metas. Ash obviously has been kind of in and out of the meta. So, you know, for the Guangzhou Charge, I look at this and I think they will bounce back. And this is a good series to bounce back on with Seoul Dynasty as your opponent.
Ready for battle.
Okay. Well, taking a look as we jump into Oasis, it will be Garden for our first map. And see that there's going to be some things shuffled around a little bit. Would be a bit surprising to see Happy on that Echo. But for right now, Prophet giving the long hover over the Wrecking Ball. Coupled with the Winston, probably not going to happen. Likely a flip over to the Zarya here as the clock continues to count down. There we go, and looks like Happy will be on the McCree to start with Eileen on the May. Illicit's going to be pushing everybody forward for the Seoul Dynasty, and then he swaps over onto that Genji.
Yeah, Guangzhou is running the more sturdy composition, the more heavy hitting, and very much more mobile composition with its extra healing ability that it has with the Moira in it. You can push forward faster and harder when you have Moira there, and you can force Coalescence team fights in neutral. Actually lost ground here, though. On the point, Seoul Dynasty have, so their Genji here isn't going to do much at the moment. This should be a first cap here for Guangzhou. They have to engage.
Yeah, Illicit nearly getting taken down there. You can see Eileen just trying to spy check, spot out where Fitz is at. Currently hovering below them, starts ticking up on the point as he inches his way through, but has to be careful. Headshot coming out onto him. Would just be that first blood going over. Illicit manages to dash forward. Hack coming out, finds Chara. Fitz looking for the kill, but has to jump out to safety. Chara's still going to be alive and in the fight for now as Eileen goes into the ice block here on the low ground, joined by the rest of the Guangzhou Charge, who are currently looking to get the lockdown on this point. They still have Krong hovering up top. They've got Happy as well, so very well controlling the high ground and the low ground. Guangzhou Charge is all over the place, playing this masterfully so far.
Yeah.
Seoul Dynasty now have to figure out how to push in and break down this defense.
It's so hard with the comp they're running to break through, unfortunately. Let me look at Krong. He has free reign up here on the high ground, can jump down carefully. They've got May here at the front that's about to pop out ice block. Look at the pressure.
Ooh, Jester desperately needs some heals. See the Deadeye pushing out around the corner. Everybody managing to take cover. A little bit of damage going out into the ocean, but Shu manages to find two. Coalescence coming through. Goes ahead, mows him down. The flashbang kill onto Prophet will shut down that push. Jester does manage to get his ultimate online, but Guangzhou Charge have been steadily building up. Graviton Surge nearly there. They already have a Blizzard.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really scary moment where you're all trapped down there, low health. The Coalescence comes out. Seoul Dynasty's big ults here, the EMP and Blade, are coming online in this next fight, but there's going to be the Blizzard that can help mitigate that team fight. They're going to have a Shatter and a Grab too. Guangzhou will in the longer fight. Seoul cannot afford to lose this fight with the best tools they have.
Well, Fitz does manage to use the EMP, catches out three just with the primal range. Will send Shu up the side of the map, but Eileen strikes back, back-to-back headshots coming through. Gets her the Ana, then the Sombra. Jester has to exit, so primal range going to be burned. Seoul Dynasty now have to wait, and this is likely going to have to be a Graph Blade combination to try and find success, to try to get this flip back into their favor, but Prophet is still straggling behind.
Yeah, they're going to have to rally to try to get that grab in the fight, but they're going to get grabbed themselves. They're going to get blizzarded, and there's a Sound Bear to survive through that Dragon Blade damage. You can see Chara is kind of lurking around, checking for Sombra on the edge here. This is very, very tough for Seoul Dynasty to win this fight without that primal.
Yeah, Jester tries to go up onto the high ground instantly. It's met with a ton of damage. Now you can see the rally is out. Slime frozen up as he was isolated by himself. They finish him off. They have to tag in for the overtime. They start to leap over onto the point now. As the blade comes out, Illicit dashes through, manages to find Eileen. Illicit gets rid of that Blizzard for the fight, but the rest of the team, the Guangzhou Charge, still are stacked with their ultimates. The Coalescence rolls through to keep everybody alive, cleans up the final kill. And it will be 100-0 this first round as Guangzhou Charge make a pretty big statement here over the Seoul Dynasty.
And it's crazy. The best fight you're looking for if your Seoul is that EMP fight with the Blade. They weren't able to use them together. They used the EMP and the Primal. But Fitz was actually killed early in the fight. You pointed out Eileen got that right-click headshot while hacked, by the way. So Blizzard is one of your best tools against that team fight. Doesn't even need it. He gets hacked, but then still kills Fitz. Illicit's pushed away. Gesture has to flee, so doesn't get value out of his Primal Rage, and then the ult economy is just so much more in favor of Guangzhou Charge. They get to use their grab to shut down Illicit's final blade in that last fight.
Yeah.
And now looks like we're going to see compositions change to where Guangzhou is going to match what Seoul Dynasty is running. Just wanted to run the Reinhardt on that first point. It's going to be Tracer instead of the Sombra, yeah.
Yeah, so a little bit of a change up. Happy feeling like he can have more impact than Sombra with that EMP. Fitz already getting taken rather low as Eileen dashes through, looking for the finishing blow there onto Vidosian. Can't quite find it. Puck goes up but gets hacked and Illicit finishes him off for the first kill of the round as we are now here on City Center. So good start for Seoul Dynasty, but does this translate into a cap on the point? Have to wait and see for now. Jester leaps up onto the high ground. Krong just mitigating that damage as he pops the bubble onto himself. It's another one pushed out on Rhea to try to build up that energy, and Profit finds the better of Happy, taking down the enemy Tracer. Cap does come through, Seoul Dynasty in control for now, and Guangzhou Charge pulling back.
Happy's going to have to find a pick here in this next fight if they want to get a fast flip, because otherwise they're not going to have the ultimates, right? It's a very slow ult building composition they're running, especially when you lose that first fight, you're going to be behind, and you're not going to have an EMP to retake because you're running the Tracer, so he needs to find value on this Tracer somehow, find a backline pick, you know, or kill Illicit if Illicit gets overextended. Otherwise, Seoul is just going to sit pretty here. Nano out.
Nano goes in onto Gesture. There's a very nice dive. Finds both supports alone in the back line. No way to peel for that. Go ahead and do fall. So this is a fantastic start now for the Seoul Dynasty. Guangzhou Charge building up some ultimates. They've got that Nano. They still hold on to the Pulse Bomb as well as a Primal Rage. So definitely have tools to try and retake this. But it's going to be difficult with Illicit's Blade coming up.
Exactly. It's Seoul, I mean, Seoul's basically primed to get to 99 almost no matter what, unless Happy makes that crazy play happen here. He's unseen at the moment. If he can make a Pulse Bomb pick happen, then maybe they can take this early, get this fast up, and kill Seoul before they can use those crucial ultimates. Fitz getting his EMP online right now, 10% away. And as Happy's seen, he's scouted, he can't get that kill. Now they've got EMP.
Yeah, gets taken low. Down about half HP. Dragon Blade coming out from Illicit off screen.
Huge
oh
sleep.
Boy, the sleep dart connects absolutely massive from Shu. Bionade will go ahead and finish him off. That is going to be one shut down. One step in the right direction now for the Guangzhou Charge, but they still need to get the flip. Rio jumps into the back, still threatening with the primal range potential, but the EMP strikes first. Manages to catch 3, Krong the first one to fall. Jester falling low, antied out, will get finished off by Eileen, who gets that nano boost. Still holds on to the Dragon Blade. 86% here for the Seoul Dynasty as they continue to maintain control at this point, trying to stretch this out at least to 99. If not, just go ahead and close this out with another 100 to 0. Dragon Blade comes in from Eileen, though, jumps in on top of Vidosian. Grab comes in, manages to catch them. The flip is there briefly for the Guangzhou Charge, and Chara is going to be popping that rally. Graviton Surge comes out from Krong. They're looking for a few kills. They managed to get Illicit, but Chara now will fall, and the Seoul Dynasty are looking for a very quick retake. Just 12%, now 13. No, not quite built up for the Guangzhou Charge as we enter into OT.
Yeah, looks like we are going to go to a
somebody
third round.
touch. Rio cannot get there in time.
Nope. And, I mean, Seoul Dynasty, they played this really well. They played around the EMP. They took that early fight, right? They got the first cap, and they prevented non-stop Happy from finding any picks on the Tracer. He wasn't really getting the value he was looking for. They shut him down at every turn. Every time he should look for a backline pick. We saw a really sick sleep. I think this is actually the moment here.
Yeah, here we go.
The Blade comes out for Illicit. And look at this. Just instantly tilts up, sleep him on the drop down, and then he gets the Bionade follow-up kill here. It was actually a really critical play. Unfortunately, it's not enough to save Guangzhou Charge in the end because Seoul Dynasty had further ultimates than just the Blade, but I'd like to highlight the individual plays.
It was very nicely done by Shu, who is going to be moving over onto the Baptiste. And now we'll have Guangzhou continuing to make further changes, but so is the Seoul Dynasty, and they're running a Pharah.
Yeah, Illicit's on the Pharah actually over Profit, you know, obviously because he's playing tank. They have a funky thing to see with this lineup here. For the Pharah,
I think it's a little bit funky going into Happy. I'd be terrified if I was.
Yeah, also, I mean, on this map where you don't have a lot of room to work with this Pharah, I mean, historically I've seen some Pharah on this map, but you can see he's finding it difficult to find consistent damage. As I say it.
Yeah, Fitz will manage to get the killing blow there onto Rio. Nice damage boost coming out from Slime to help cut down that Orisa. And now without getting the first cap of the point, it's, becomes increasingly more difficult to keep running this Orisa. Wouldn't be shocked to see if Guangzhou Charge decide to change things up soon here. But for now, it's just a shooting gallery for Fitz.
Yeah, I agree. The change is definitely warranted here. I mean, if you're Happy, you're pretty okay with running the Ashe here. You don't have to swap to a McCree or anything like that because you're not dealing with Pharah Tracer. It's Pharah Ashe. You need to have your own Ashe to match the opponent's Ashe, or you're just going to get gunned down every time as McCree will be outranged and outpoked. So they need to find a way to re-engage carefully, but I mean, they're just getting shoved back by the Wrecking Ball in the choke.
spots him around the corner. Illicit now with the barrage online, falling low, still getting pocketed. Slime does his damnedest to keep him alive and in the fight, pushing into the back line. The barrage comes down instantly, finds two. Shu comes up with yet another huge sleep dart, but it's just not soon enough. Manages to find 3 on the back end. Illicit looking strong, and they are making this Pharah work. Happy just can't get him out of the sky fast enough.
Yeah, Shu is on the honorable mentions list, man, this map. He's had so many great sleeps. He's really keeping everybody topped up. He's had some amazing nano boosts as well to keep the tank line alive, but you know, the nano boost was perfect for Badoshin. He had the angle he needed above Guangzhou Charge to get that damage done, get those kills. Now you see the Bob coming out, but it's looking
Sleep
dire.
dart's there. And they will be able to shut that down for at least a little bit longer. Rio will finish it off. You can see just how little damage Rio and Krong have been able to get through. They're still building up for the supercharge of the pile driver from Gesture. Just absolutely smashing Happy into oblivion as Shu gets picked off, so no nano boost for the fight. We're at 80%. Guangzhou Charge need to close this out, but they are still losing members.
Yeah, they're just not able to get Happy into good line of sight to find damage. The, Orisa pick is not really helping anybody because Illicit can just fly over the barriers and do consistent damage. I mean, nobody can even realistically come in here and touch the point without sacrificing themselves. I mean, look at Rio try. He's trying.
Doing their damnedest. Gesture manages to find Rio. Happy finally gets Illicit out of the air. Slime so far not going to be able to go in for a res. Graviton Surge does come through. They will manage to focus down onto Chara. Eileen with a blade out, dashes through for one, slices Badoshin for another. Jumps in on top of the Pharah, pops the deflection. Looking for the kill, can't quite find it, and Prophet will manage to finish him off, but it's just both tanks against the world right now as Guangzhou Charge have the respawns coming through. Just a rolling in, gets the pile driver, tries to get the finish off onto Shu, but the bio nade will buy him some more time, and Gesture cannot make it over to that mega pack in time to keep himself in the fight. So the flip will come in. Not going to be that 100-0 finish that the Seoul Dynasty we're so desperately hoping for.
Yeah, and they use their ults very, very well. Guangzhou Charge did. They save their tank ults here, and they're in a decent spot to hold this next fight. I like where they're at here, and this is going to be the first time Fitz really struggles to approach the point, right? He had Ashe, line of sight control the entire time until now. Illicit swaps over to Genji. No more far. They're not going to try to approach this. That would be insane. I like the swaps here from Seoul. They're down on ultimates for this fight, so this is probably going to be kind of an eco push.
Yep. Supercharger to start the Guangzhou Charge. Trying to find that pick. Dynamite Dragon on the province. The Self Bubble will go ahead and keep himself safe, but a Bionade connects onto 3 members. And it seems like Slime will be able to exit safely. Very dangerous territory, but at least give some pause here for the Seoul Dynasty on their approach. Now they'll start moving their way back forward. But Ocean down to 7 HP. Dumps the nano boost while he still has an opportunity, but Prophet is going to be slept. Shu yet again comes up absolutely clutch, shutting it down. These big damage members on the side of the Seoul Dynasty. That's falling low. Rio as well. See, Gravitic Flux coming through, drops them back down to the ground, but not going to be able to find any kills on the backside of that. Just Happy getting a kill on a Slime. 62% now for the Guangzhou Charge. The Dynamite connects, but the Bionade comes out. Go ahead and keep Rio healthy. Nano Boost used onto Eileen in the back line, but Ocean cannot line up that Sleep Dart. He's looking for the assassination onto the Ana, but gets forced to use the recall, and now has to try to exit. Down to 37 HP, will be able to make his way out. But now Pulse Bomb ready to go, and there's a lot of people clumped up in that corner right now for the Seoul Dynasty. And he's still holding on to this Pulse, just waiting for his moment. The Bob taking a nap, now woken up.
Really good opportunity here for
87%.
Charge, but in this fight, if they can get a pick here with this bomb, otherwise the ults definitely favor Seoul Dynasty. They're just waiting for their opportunity. Here comes the minefield engage. He doesn't have it yet. Now it is.
Yeah, pops it out. Actually nearly got canceled. Pulse Bomb, however, from Eileen does manage to find Badoshin, so there's not going to be a nano boost in the fight, and Slime is still a little bit of ways away from that rally, which he would so desperately love to have right now. Grab comes out, the blade coming through, pile driver in on top of everybody. Kong and Eileen manage to find one. Eileen gets a second, keeping this sustained at a 3v3, but they have to make their way onto the point. It was even, and Prophet just doesn't step in to force the OT.
Oh,
he
man.
doesn't elongate it, and Guangzhou Charge just close it out 2-1.
We have to mention that Shu got another sleep dart as well onto the blading Genji. Illicit comes in for the fight there on the grab, and he's point blank in his face, and he still gets a sleep dart there while the Genji is dashing through. Helps set up that kill. Shu had some incredible moments throughout all of the rounds we just saw on Oasis, but Seoul Dynasty, they should have had more point presence there. They should have touched and delayed, but things looked great for Guangzhou Charge throughout the entire second half. Once the Pharah comp was shut down, Seoul had to change composition, and Guangzhou in that mirror looked vastly the better team. And that pulse bomb, too, on the Badoshin really helped set things up. If there's a nano boost on that blade, maybe things change. Maybe he gets slept, but he survives. There's a lot of different ways it could have been used. And that was the big moment. I think Eileen really shone through there with that pulse, and Guangzhou needed that to happen.
Was a very clutch pickoff, but I mean, clutch plays coming out from both teams throughout those 3 rounds of Oasis. Unfortunately for the Seoul Dynasty, does not result in a victory for them, but they're going to be looking to tie things up, continue this, make it a 1-1 scoreline, and not go down without a fight. Already things looking decently close with Prophet on the Zarya, but we have to see if he's going to continue to fill that role or if he will be shifting over back into a DPS slot. We'll find out after the break, so stay tuned, guys. We'll be back in just a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch.
Because the way they were positioned, they weren't really in a good spot to contest the point, and Eileen was at full health. Just in like he had full mobility, he could have just wrapped around and harassed everybody. I don't think they. I think that even in like I don't want to say in a perfect world. Why does my phone always ring on cast, man? No matter what, like no matter what,
you gotta mute it.
I have it muted, but it wasn't a regular phone call. It's from an app that you can't mute the sound for. But anyway. Oh, it's like the 4th time now this happened with me and you over the last year. It's never happened before that. I guess I'm just becoming popular. Anyways. And start tagging in and contesting that they would have won that fight. Well, we should have at least seen that fight, right? You always want to see that fight because even if it's a 30-40% chance, like less than 50%, sometimes you win the fight and turn the point and win the map. So, but yeah, really clutch plays from Shu all 3 rounds, and Eileen showcasing his Tracer, which is something that's fairly rare for us to see from him as of late. It's usually happy on that role. He looked good. He looked comfortable. Illicit's Pharah, also very impressive to see. Really good execution. That was a great first map of this series.
Yeah, it was really good. Strong performances from both sides, albeit, a bit of a lackluster and anticlimactic ending to University. But if we're going to be getting action like that all the way through, then I'm pretty excited. I know there's been so many times that I've said this, and then the maps has just kind of, fallen off a cliff on the back end of it, and, one team suddenly just stops playing the game for the most part. But I'm hoping that we continue to get this fast-paced, big ult shutdown moments coming through from either side, because it was a really exciting map of Oasis. We're getting ready to move on to Havana, though, so Escort coming up. We'll have to see what these guys piece together. I think that the graphic actually runs before we, as we come back from break, so people probably already know, but I'm just going to say it anyway. We do have Prophet coming in.
Yeah.
So
he is. He's coming in for DPS.
Yeah, he's going to be back in DPS, and we have Marvel rejoining the squad in the tank line. So two interesting things there. We've been seeing a good amount of Michelle as of late, so now we have Marvel coming in. But then we also have Prophet playing alongside of Fitz, which it feels like it's been a really long time since we've seen these two play together.
Yeah, it has been quite a while. And I think that's something that Seoul was missing last week, because that's why we saw Prophet. They're running the Tracer Genji, right? And you see this Prophet Illicit duo that gets hacked, and there was a lot of problems with Lip. For those of you guys who watched last week, obviously we had a different hero pool, etc. But it was a big issue. They couldn't run hit scan at all. Like, they couldn't really put anybody on a McCree to help shut that down. They couldn't run any Ashe compositions, and you felt like. And they also neither of them play Sombra, so you felt like, okay, no matter what, this is you're pretty stuck with the comp you're running, which was the Tracer Genji, and Lip did a great job of shutting that down. This time, they have a lot more flexibility.
In North America,
What
still
time is
in
it?
Los Angeles. It is currently 1:28 a.m.
Oh, it's still early. You'll be fine. Don't worry.
I mean, it's early now.
Well,
but
we got
I'm
one map
talking
out of the
about
way.
When we finish,
We got one map out
it
of the way
will
in 18
probably
minutes.
be.
Let's calculate that. Let's just round it to 20. Say it's 3 maps for each series. That's only 3 hours. It'll be done by 4. If it goes any longer than that,
Okay.
I mean, that's
Something tells me it's going to go longer than that, Wolf. Something tells me it's not going to be 3-3-0s this evening. I mean, second series, we've got London versus Hangzhou. That could be a bit of a closer one here if Hangzhou can step up. And then, the final series of the night, that's kind of the marquee matchup. That's New York versus Shanghai. So I do not think that there is a world or an alternate reality here where we have 3-3-0s.
well,
I
also
don't
don't think. I think the first match, the one that we're watching right now, even though Guangzhou stole it away there in the end, I don't think this one's going to be a 3-0 either, just based on how Seoul started and how they're adapting their roster.
Agree.
I was pretty impressed with how Seoul played last week, even though they were playing Prophet Illicit. Like, I made my tweet about it, how it wasn't actually a one-sided match, even though it was a 3-0 at the end of the day. Those matches were really close, if you remember. They're both, like, Hybrid and Salt went to overtime, and there were, overtime scenarios on point A. Very, very close matches. Or maps, I should say. So Seoul is definitely looking better, and I like that they look like they come in very well prepared and very well coached for these scenarios, because you look at Profit Illicit last week and you go, well, where's Fitz? Like, they have to run this comp, but they looked really prepared for the comp. They looked really strong on it. They had some problems versus Lip, but they looked, decent there. Illicit comes in, and he had a great opening on Pharaoh. I looked at the situation. You looked at the situation, we're both, I think, a bit skeptical, but the performance was good. He got nano boost at the right time. That barrage was perfect. He was able to thread the needle on all of those rockets and get that opening cap. Then he swapped when it was appropriate to swap to the Genji. He got slept by Shu, obviously a few times there, but it was a good opening. Yep. They prepared well, and despite the loss, I feel like Seoul is coming to these matches here in APAC a lot more prepared than they were, 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about how crazy it is to see Profit slotted into, the tank lineup there for this whole dynasty, but I would much rather see that than see them do the same thing over and over again and then potentially not find success. So I really do respect the transition that they had there, and it did nearly work out for them. There, some clutch grabs coming in from Profit to turn fights around, potentially in that last fight when they got evened out to, 3v3. That was on the back of a big Graviton surge from him to get those picks against the Guangzhou Charge. So I like that they made that change. I like that we're now seeing the Profit Fitz lineup coming in. We just have to see how it's going to be executed as we are in game. So it seems like everything has been squared away.
Yeah.
And it's looking like we're going to be getting the Profit Genji.
And for those who didn't watch last year, it's important to note that Profit played on London Spitfire with, in GOATS, the Zarya. That was his main hero pick, because Zarya was a DPS last year. And essentially for most of the year. And, if it doesn't make sense to you, then, well, it's okay. You missed GOATS. You can just sigh relief. Yeah, it makes sense for him to play on the Zarya. It's not like a weird pick. It's not like, wow, Profit on tank. It's like, well, I mean, this was a DPS before. Now for Marvel, he's had a high highs and low lows, like we like to say in APAC for a lot of these players, a lot of these teams. He was, at the beginning of Sigma's introduction to the Overwatch League, considered by many to be the best Sigma player in Overwatch League. And now, it's Krong on the other side who's kind of taken that mantra. We'll see if he can perform here. Krong is staying on the Zarya for now. They're going to run that Genji Widow composition. They'll get Widow's back unlocked. Whoa!
Not the time to drop the shield. So Happy finding a nice little pick off. It's okay. Slime doesn't have very far to run back before he's joined in with the rest of the team, as the card is just now starting to move up the street. Fitz, though, this is, again, another one of those matchups where you gotta be a little bit terrified when you're going up against Happy. This guy is one of, if not maybe the best Widowmakers that we have, at least in the APAC region for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Krong's looking to build up some energy, but good restraint there for this whole dynasty. Don't feed too much over to him.
Yeah, they barely touched
starts
it.
Getting poked out.
That's a really good ignore there on the shield. Ooh, look at this angle. They don't know, but
waiting for his moment.
Yeah.
He got the headshot on that mine.
Yeah, that's for sure.
One shot, one kill. Now, it looks like Happy and Fitz kind of duking it out off camera, both of them falling low but getting topped up. Before that hit, gets a nice dink on a Krong. Just kind of walked in front of the crosshair.
He's got such control,
Happy
though.
Little accidents.
Yeah, he's got such control on Happy sightlines, but Happy just turns that around.
He just jumps out boldly
That's
in front.
insane.
Says, my aim is better.
I want to see that replay.
I mean,
wow.
This is just what Happy does. He can just assert his dominance. This guy is just absolutely fantastic at the Widowmaker. So a great shot from him, and that causes the entirety of this whole dynasty to have to peel back. They lose that long-range poke potential.
He must have pre-scoped and literally spacebar jumped. Oh my god, this guy's insane.
Yep, yet again, finding Slime. And he's still just holding on to Impresight. Says, you know what? I know exactly where all of them are currently, so I don't need to use this ult.
This is actually crazy. Guangzhou is doing a great job of holding here. Look at Krong's ult charge. He just barely has any because he's been so irrelevant to the defense. He's there for peel if Seoul actually does get a chance to dive in and commit with the Genji. But, they're running in a Risa of their own, so he's just kind of back. He's kind of chilling. And
Happy was forced back now, looks for the reapproach, so he does pop that in for sight. Met with a couple barriers. He's looking for that shot of the Prophet. Would love to line that up, but sees the deflection, so holds it, but manages to find Fitz before he can escape inside the building. So pressure still being applied. Now pushes up, looking down the street. Barrier will just be greeting him as Marvel tucks inside. The deflection there from Prophet, make sure that he doesn't get his head taken
It's
off.
crazy to watch Happy.
Even try to find a setup here for this blade.
Yeah, it's crazy to watch this tracking of his crosshair, not Corsair. Watching too much StarCraft recently. But the blade here, like you said, is the most crucial part of this push. They want to use it with the supercharger, but they might just not have the timing for that here.
The Flux is coming through. That could be the setup for the blade, but we're still not seeing Prophet pop that. Taking a bit of damage, ducks in around the corner, goes for a short little dash. Rio, Primal Rage going to be expiring, goes back up towards the cart, gets stunned up. Graviton Surge comes out, catches Prophet, already has managed to get rid of Shu. Now dashes way into the back, gets rid of Chara. Happy finds the headshot. Very nice little flick from him, but just a little bit too late, too late rather, as the cart will be able to move forward. They drained a lot of time away from the Seoul Dynasty, so just now under 3 minutes as they get ready to move in towards point B.
Krong definitely had a little bit of, definitely was a little bit too patient with the grab there. But otherwise, you know, I mean, Guangzhou did what they could with the situation. The Flux made it tough for them to actually look for that kind of peel that they needed to have, you know, to keep everybody grouped up to set up for the blade defense. Prophet kind of just split them in half and then got those backline kills as things started to ensue. And he lived through the grab, obviously, which is the best tool they had at shutting him down. Guangzhou is still holding a lot of ultimates here, though, including their own blade. They wish they had a grab for it, but, you know, I mean, this is the blade that they're going to start with.
Well, they got a nano boost for it.
Yep.
Jumping into the back, Happy will get rid of Fitz. The stun comes in, Eileen falling low. Edge of the Pine Slime, but Jester gets him on the way out. Happy pushing up on top, gets that nice body shot onto Prophet. We'll have to drop back down. Good job.
Sleep.
Jester trying to force him out of position, but yeah, they do get that sleep connecting. Trying to find the finish. A little bit of damage in. Headshot might have done enough to try to finish him off, but now with Badoshin gone, they don't have that immortality field. They don't have that big burst healing coming through from the right clicks. Happy, does he actually? Yeah, he missed them. Didn't quite see him on that flank. He does manage to exit, though.
Is just, I mean, he's terrorizing Seoul Dynasty right now. He's making them have to play around these barriers super carefully. And anytime you expose yourself, I mean, true fits as well here, you're going to put yourself at risk of just getting eliminated. So the going is slow here.
Well, Rally gets rolled from the Guangzhou Charge. They push forward right up against the Seoul Dynasty. Fearlessly moving up against them. Happy drops in front of Shu, so please kill me. And they will be able to get the finishing blow onto Fitz. We are now down below a minute. Seoul Dynasty have a couple ultimates, but they might have to dump all of these just to get to point B, which is again going to exacerbate things for them as they try to go for the final stretch of this map.
They don't have a grab. Again, Guangzhou, you know, last time they had it but didn't use it in time. This time they're not going to have it. I think Seoul's got a really good chance to just finish this off here with that opening Flux, you know. Pair those two together. Look at Guangzhou. They're super split up right now. They should just look for a double kill with this blade and then go in. They have all the vision too with Fitz.
Marvel taking so much damage. Let's pop the kinetic grasp. But Prophet finds a major pickoff. Gets rid of Happy. Kirkin's getting the headshot. Rio falling low with the Primal Rage. Leaps back over to rejoin with the rest of his squad. You can see Marvel advancing up here onto the high ground. Blade comes out from Eileen, has the nano boost, jumps in, but already 2 members, now 3, going to be gone. Taken away from the Guangzhou Charge. Eileen has to try to exit. Prophet going to be stunned up under some fire deflection, buys himself for a little bit more time. Armor packs come through, gets the killing blow onto Chara. A nice turnaround as the cart gets ready to roll up into point B. Guangzhou Charge, do they go for any kind of last-second contest? They're kind of in position. You can see Rio starting to move up. So they're definitely considering this. Goes for the short hop, but gets met with a ton of damage and will be taken down. Jester with a headshot gets rid of the Angry Scientist. And with the cleanup there, that will be Seoul Dynasty pushing through. Yet again, persevering. They make their way to point B, but it's with the minimal amount of time.
Yeah, I think that kill that Prophet had, by the way, onto Chara on the beta, which is extremely rare to see, especially when he was at like 50 health and he still turned that around with the help of support. That actually was a huge turning point, because if he ends up losing that fight and Chara comes in, has extra healing, and stays on the point, then maybe Krong grabs and it's a whole different fight. So it was actually a really critical kill that he was able to kind of steal away there, despite all those disadvantages against him and his health being at, you know, 1/4 essentially. Very impressive stuff here for Prophet. Always love to see him on the Genji.
Yeah, it's been something that I think, you know, us, you know, Seoul fans watching from home, and something that they have been kind of looking forward to seeing yet, again, because it was so strong when he brought it back out this season, and then it went away for a while. But now bringing it back out, he is contesting against Eileen very well. Somebody who, shut down Fleta in that summer showdown to go ahead and help get that victory.
Fitz here just looking for sight angles to kind of help shove this cart through. The Seoul Dynasty only get one fight with the blade here, so they want to get the cart as close as possible and try to use the blade on those tagging, defending members of the Guangzhou Charge. The grab is ready.
Well, Prophet going to be taken down, so the Dragon Blade not going to be in the fight yet. Big pop-up over the top and doesn't quite have the angle. Primal Rage is wreaking havoc, finds the kill on to Marvel. Now is displacing Bedosian, trying to send him sailing off the side of the map, and it looks like he has worked the treat. It has. So the cart will be stopped there. Prophet popping the Dragon Blade here at the end, but cannot get to the cart to extend that OT. So a win condition now on the board for the Guangzhou Charge if they can just get to the end of Havana.
Yeah, that blade shut down by Happy. I mean, he just prevents it from being used until obviously at the end, final moments that don't matter. I think this might actually be a replay of it. Yeah, this is actually the critical moment here. He sees him poke over the top on the left side. He's tracking him. And that kill right there, that's it. That's the end of the push, basically. Seoul has no other ults. They have no other hard engage. They need a longer fight in order to make that happen. And then Guangzhou just collapses in. At that exact moment, that's when everyone jumps through. You see the Primal come out from Rio, and it's just an easy cleanup from there. I love to see a good Widowmaker player not look for all the kills, look for any opportunity for a kill, but look for the one kill that matters most and hit it like that. He was clearly tracking Prophet, and he was able to make that elimination happen right before the blade goes off. And, that's the most important ultimate of all. So, huge clutch elimination there that changes everything in an instant. And that's what Widowmaker could do. That's why she's so popular in almost every meta, including double shield, where there's so many shields to block her from getting damage done, because she has that one-shot kill potential. And that's what we saw there.
Well, here we go. Guangzhou Charge now on the attack. Let's see how they fare. Very forward hold initially, but a very swift pullback starting to come in from the Seoul Dynasty. They're not playing up against the cart, at least want to have the corner to dip around and get inside the building, it would seem. Happy's going to be moving over onto the Sombra. And already spots out Fitz. Goes in looking for the kill, only gets a little bit of damage though. Can't seriously threaten the Widowmaker's life yet. Now we'll have to wait, still hovering down to about half HP, and whew, jump scare right there. Prophet coming for it. Couldn't get the kill, but forces him to translocate out.
He's going to swap too. It's a pretty rare pick for Guangzhou to have Happy on that Sombra. It's actually Eileen who plays it more often than not, so bit of a weird starting pick here, and they don't get the charge they were looking for. No pun intended on the ultimate, so swapping over to Widow, and now Fitz has sightline advantage. Ooh. I don't know how he even hit that one. What?
He sensed it.
Yeah, I guess so. Spider sense is tingling. This is gonna be
could be a little bit rough. The barriers come in. Really good collapse from the rest of the Seoul Dynasty, and now they turn it around, find the pickoff onto Eileen. Good whip shot from Slime. They have the window set up as well to fully dissuade Guangzhou Charge from continuing to press the issue there in that alleyway.
Seoul has, they have all the advantages right now. They still have line of sight advantage with Fitz. Well, he's not using it to its fullest potential because it's repositioning, but they're going to have Marvel's ult here in just a second too, a rally.
Primal Rage out, Nano Boost still coming through. Rio stunned up at the moment, but not that much damage coming out onto the Winston. Eileen now with the Dragon Blade online, just going to be holding this for the moment as the Seoul Dynasty go ahead, peel back, get clumped up, utilize the armor from that rally, which will now expire. But Ocean nearly gets finished off despite that armor, though. Great shots coming through, soften him up.
I think
Fitz pops that Infrasight.
Charge really
everybody from Guangzhou Charge has to be inside now.
They really need to rally for this next fight. There it comes, but here comes the blade to counter. Great immortality
Blade is out, immortality field buys him a little bit of time, but they finally finished it off, and Eileen manages to find 3. Happy will snipe Prophet, a nice little headshot in the back of the Shurikens, finishes off Gesture. That is the team wipe. And that will in all likelihood be point A. I don't see a way that Seoul Dynasty could try to recontest this. Even though the card's still a little bit further away, they have that Orisa, it's so slowly moving, they likely just want to get set up indoors.
Yeah. Look at this moment again. So Immortality Field is out early, and then he's just gonna slice through. Look at how he targets. He calls the target on the Immortality Field. Everyone shoots it. He swipes the second time, and everyone's caught in this choke. And it was actually a smart move for Seoul to collapse in there and try to kill everyone before the rally finished.
Oh,
they did recontest, but
they lost.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. Also, Guangzhou Charge, an ill-fated recontest on their defense. But yeah, I mean, you got to commit in when the rally's coming out before that armor starts to stack up, or you just can't win the fight, especially when they have a Zarya on their side. So it was smart of them to go in early. The Immortality Field was really well placed, but Eileen just countered it all by, you know, good call. Everyone targeted it down quickly. He swiped it, and then everyone's stuck in the doorway.
Yeah. Well, now with the shortened sight lines here, Fitz is swapping over onto the Ashe to try and contest against the Guangzhou Charge, but they just continue to press forward. Through the Primal Rage comes up with yet another kill. Dynamite will finish off Eileen, but the card is going to be moving steadily for now.
And this was part of the problem with recontesting. I mean, we didn't see exactly how the recontest went, but as you pointed out, it was ill-fated from the start. You know, we were like, yeah, they won't because of reasons and listed them all, and then they did and lost. But then you give Guangzhou Charge this free push, and they have sightline advantages, like you were pointing out. Happy now has vision, too, with his ult.
That vision, and Eileen nearly has a Dragon Blade. Chara, however, going to be taken down. Really nice damage coming through. Fitz will find that kill as Prophet tries to build up for a Pulse Bomb. And this is the stability that Seoul Dynasty so desperately need. And they just get it on the back of a Supercharger. So overall, really good victory here in this team fight. As Prophet would love to get rid of Krong, deny that energy, but cannot quite finish him off.
Yeah, Prophet's Tracer is so insane, too. I mean, I feel like he's the only one who really comes close to Fleta in this region right now, in terms of just individual skill with the hero. And I like the pick. It's a smart one. Happy swapping back over to Sombra, by the way.
Flux coming out, catches Rio. He's still so very low, and they'll just not even allow him to get slammed back to the ground. Fitz will just go ahead and finish him off in midair. So again, single ult use. An effective team fight victory. Have to wait for that Winston to come back.
It's a very slow push for Guangzhou Charge. You know, time bank-wise, they've already lost a lot of time. Their A cap was pretty slow, and they're trying to go to this ult-based style now with the Sombra, whereas before they were kind of playing pick-based with the Widow. And I don't know, the EMP build's been pretty slow here. They've got to grab, they've got good tools, but like with the high ground against them, can they really hope to make this work?
I mean, Happy is chunked down to half HP again as he starts pushing forward. A nice deflect is there from Eileen, but gets stunned up. Armor going to get taken away. Rally's still going to be rolling to the Seoul Dynasty. Immortality Guild keeping alive through the grab. Gesture bionated, but they don't finish off the Immortality Field in time. You can see the healing coming out desperately, trying to keep the tanks alive so far, working pretty damn well. Char going to fall at the cost of Prophet as Rio continues to roll with the Primal Rage. Still making quite a bit of damage though. The Nano Boost will actually be invested from Shoot just to ensure his survival. Leaps up on the high ground now, threatening Jester, trying to force him back. Desperately trying to keep him alive. The Immortality coming out yet again, basically on cooldown from Badoshin. But the follow-up is looking very good as Krong is high charge, cleans up 3 kills there. Cart finally starts moving yet again.
That was all Shu, by the way. From the Bionade onto Gesture, which made him reposition. Otherwise, he would have been healed up to full just by right-clicks from Badoshin. He had to back off. That gave Guangzhou Charge the opportunity to dive in with the Winston and set up for that fight. He gets the perfect nano boost as well. I think they should. In this case, the Torbjorn pick's a bit odd, but see how this works out.
Well, Prophet tags out, Jester drops down, uses the barrier, but it gets deleted instantly by the EMP. Eileen with the blade pulled out. They're trying to survive are the Seoul Dynasty with that rally. Critic Flux is decent, takes Eileen low. He's 1 HP! They do finally manage to finish him off. Marble coming up with a kill. 3.22 meters is what the Guangzhou Charge desperately need to try to get into point B, get that minute and a half bumped up into the time bank, but it just looks like it is not going to happen. Happy forced back with that translocator. The OT bleeds away, and oh boy, we have a series on our hands. Seoul Dynasty close out Havana, making this
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the
I'm not saying like told you as if you didn't know. I'm just telling everyone out there.
I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, no, I'm telling everyone out there like I told you. It's coming true. Great start to the series, though. It's been back and forth. Lots of different compositions seen between these two teams, changing it up nonstop. The Torbjorn pick coming through was the right move, actually. You know, it gave them a little bit of extra damage and staying power on the point, whereas a lot of other DPSs. I mean, the only other one you could have picked that would have done something similar in terms of like its tankiness and sticking to the point is maybe a May. But the Torb pick worked out really well. It was a nice last-minute contest. And this is very different from the both failed A contests we saw in Havana, where it's just like, well, you've got slow-moving heroes, you're not even close. They had plenty of time to set up and look for that fight. So, well done by Seoul Dynasty.
Very well done. So 1-1 now here in this set. Somebody going to be looking to take the lead as we get ready to come back from, we have halftime coming up, and then when we come back from that, somebody's going to be looking to take the lead, make that 2-1 scoreline. But this is starting to feel more and more like a series that could certainly go the distance, Wolf. This could very well be just, a map 5 set to start off our evening. And I'm all right with it. It's been really fun action coming through from both of these teams thus far. Some incredible picks from Happy, matched by Profits Tracer just wreaking havoc in the backline. So really solid stuff coming through, and I'm looking forward to more of it. But coming up, we do have our game break, so stay tuned, and Wolf and I will be right back.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for our game break presented by Pringles Wavy. We're tied up 1-1 in our first series of the night. Seoul Dynasty picking up a victory on Havana after we saw the Guangzhou Charge take a victory on Oasis. And,
Control extremely close, and then we went into Havana where things just kept being neck and neck. We have two extremely talented Widowmaker players in Happy and Fitz, kind of hitting it off against each other pretty evenly. I feel like Happy is getting the advantages a little bit more often, and Havana is one of those maps where Widowmaker is going to be quite prevalent. But
yeah,
it's a close matchup we're seeing. We're seeing Genjis on both sides as well. A lot of different changes around composition. We're seeing Sombra used for certain parts of the map. So we're seeing a lot of variety, versatility. We saw Mei even on the first map from Guangzhou with Reinhardt. So I think the sky's the limit as to what the potential here is going to be. Our next map is going to be Eichenwald. So I think we are going to be seeing a lot of Genji, Winston, Zarya, with Ashe being primarily the hero that we see. Widowmaker can be quite strong. Like, I think if we're going to see Ashe, we might see both. Like, we'll see Ashe maybe from Fitz. Happy stays with Widowmaker. The choke points on Eichenwald are so good for Ashe, though. Just outside of A, after you take that, leading into that Streets phase, and then obviously after B, going into C, that choke point, Ashe is quite strong there as well with Dynamite. So I think we'll see a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, it's Happy. So, if he runs Widowmaker, you can never really be upset about it. It's one of those times where, you feel like the Ashe is maybe better, but you can't really scold Happy for not playing it because his Widowmaker is just so damn good. But let's go ahead, Wolf, and jump into the moment, the one that we all love so very much. It's crunch time! Presented by Pringles Wavy. And what do you have for me this time, Wolf? What would you like to talk about?
I just want to talk about Seoul's growth over the last 2 weeks. I mean, I really feel like they have shown us. We were pretty disappointed by Seoul after they lost to Shanghai in the May Melee. I had to remember the name because it's been quite some time, right? That was actually happened while you and I were back in quarantine in Korea.
This is correct.
And they looked like they were going to win that tournament, and then they got reverse swept. And then from then on, it felt like it was just all downhill. Like everything was rough for Seoul. They were changing up their roster, bringing Michelle in sometimes. Fitz was out for a while. I just felt like they couldn't find the rhythm of their groove. Then their match against Shanghai last week, again, they didn't run Fitz, so they were a little bit predictable. But the way they ran their composition looked very well prepared. They looked very ready for Shanghai. And it was a much closer match than the 3-0 loss actually shows. Like I said earlier, 2 overtime finishes for Shanghai, etc. Now this week, they come in looking very prepared. Ran a Farah composition on the first map, put Prophet on Zarya. They're utilizing the full potential of their roster. They change it up going into Havana. Look really good with the comps they're running there. Fitz is challenging Happy. They're making quick decisions on the fly, like running a Torbjorn defense to contest B, which clearly looks like something they've run a few times in scrims and practice, and they want to pull it out. Like, we have just enough time to set this up, look for this defense. Seoul looks a lot more composed, a lot more prepared. I mean, I really do feel preparation has been a key factor in their last 2 matches. Even though they lost last week, they looked much better. And that's the kind of Seoul I want to see. And for Seoul fans, I think right now everyone's thinking, like, this feels legit. I know there's going to be somebody out there like, Charge is 1-1. It's not the same Charge that won just last month. Like, they're not that good anymore. No, that's just simply not true. Charge lost a series. That did happen, but they're still a very strong team. Seoul is going toe-to-toe with them, and you love to see it.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful series thus far, and we can only hope that it continues to be, the same level of play throughout the rest of this, no matter how many more maps are going to be in this series. We'll get a confirmation, but I don't think we're going to be having any changes as we get ready to go into Eichenwald. So as far as I'm aware, it will still be Fitz and Prophet as the DPS lineup with Marvel in alongside Gesture for the tanks. No Toby for the, to come in to be the boop god on the Eichenwald bridge, it would seem, but maybe an opportunity for Slime to go ahead and take up that mantle because we know that he can be a boop god in his own right from time to time. But Lucio's are few and far in between these days.
Yeah, not so much.
To see those. But you never know what they might pull out. We'll have to see. And that's exactly what we're going to do when we come back from the break. So stay tuned, guys. The rest of this series is coming up in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
All right, welcome back. It is time to get into the rest of this series between the Seoul Dynasty and the Guangzhou Charge. Tied up 1-1, and it has been nothing but close action so far in the first two maps. And Wolf and I are hoping that that is going to continue as we get ready to go into Eichenwald.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close map of Eichenwald. Like I was saying earlier, I do think we're going to see, long-range hit scan, both sides. We're going to see the Winston come through with Zarya. Wrecking Ball is definitely an option here, though, because he has really high mobility as well, and can help break some of the formations that you're going to see on the top of the castle, et cetera, et cetera. Plus, he can threaten people on Eichenwald Bridge when you head to B. So can, Lucio, like you mentioned, probably not going to see it. Primal Rage, good for that as well. So a lot of options for both teams here, but I think we are going to see more of the same, like what we saw in Havana.
All right, well, as we get ready to jump into game, we'll see what these guys do have prepared for us. Again, no changes to either roster. Seoul Dynasty still going to be running Prophet and Fitz in that DPS lineup with Marvel as the off-tank. We'll see what they have for us compositionally. Because, like you said, we were talking about it during the game break, during the crunch time, presented by Pringles Wavy, that there has been a really wide array of heroes already on display here in just two maps.
Yeah, there really have been. I mean, that's what happens when you take hero pools away. You just, a lot of flexibility going to happen. No one's really figured things out, that quickly in most cases. So
we've had every tank, I believe, other than just Hog Diva. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see Hog again. I don't know if we'll see Roadhog ever again. Like Walter White on the phone, I'm like, you're never gonna see Roadhog again. And I just like break the phone.
Well, once you play competitive with Sideshow, you actually really get warmed up to that idea because he just keeps picking Roadhog, and he just becomes an ult battery for the enemy Tracer, whatever, Genji, whatever the enemy team is running. He just kind of sits there, takes a breather, and allows them to just go ahead and farm ultimate forever and ever.
So that's just what you gotta do.
I'm personally okay with not seeing a Roadhog because at this point it's giving me PTSD whenever I see one.
Well, Soul's gonna run Marvel and Gesture on the Orisa Sigma, so a little bit surprised to see that. It's good on A, and it's good against Happy's Widow, but he's not running that. He's running the Sombra. So I think it's kind of a mismatch compositionally for Seoul Dynasty here. I think Guangzhou had the advantage coming into A.
Well, really good force back there onto Happy. He's still hovering low as far as his HP is concerned, so hasn't really been able to make his way into the back line to try and farm up that EMP. Fitz, in the meantime, surging forward, gets another nice little dynamite in as he starts moving up above 50% towards Bob. Hack onto Badoshin. Everybody turns around instantly. Just go ahead and force Happy back, so he'll get a hack off, but he's not able to get the damage on top of it to really get that EMP. Speaking of ultimates, though, Shu builds up a very rapid nano boost, but throws that onto Rio, and it's not going to do him any favors in keeping himself in the fight. He does get taken down, but Fitz is going to be traded out. Strong manages to find one. Rio finished off by Gesture. So Seoul Dynasty still have a lot of staying power for this point.
If you compare Happy Sombra to Lips in this case, that was actually a really nicely executed dive. The fight's not quite over there, retreating. Char gets picked. But if you compare them, in that fight, the dive was nice with Rio getting bobbled by Krong. They go forward. Eileen's in good position. And a lot of the members on Seoul Dynasty are at 1/3 health. But nobody's shooting at the same target, Gesture's at like 1/3 health, Slime's half health, but Happy's trying to farm ult somewhere else. And then suddenly, Seoul Dynasty just has a better formation. They outlast you, and the fight is lost.
Well, hacks out on a Marvel means that he can't use that Gravitic Flux, but it might not matter because, Shu was picked off by the Pulse Bomb from Prophet, and Rio does not last long. Smartly holds on to that Primal Rage. This gives a little bit more time for Happy to try to get that EMP ready for the EMP Blade combo, but it's been really slow building for him.
Yeah, it's been
Eileen's
slow.
been holding on to this Blade for a considerable amount of time now.
It's been slow, but, Seoul Dynasty don't really have great counters to the EMP Blade outside of, trying to flux their way out of it, but Guangzhou, I mean, the comp they're running is basically just, it's too big to fail. Yeah, you might not get the greatest time bank, but you will get A eventually, right? Once you have that team fight that you want versus what Seoul Dynasty's running. And Seoul Dynasty can't swap, so This should be that fight.
Happy dragged out of stealth, still has the EMP ready to go, but he just won't get, he does use it actually. Oh my goodness, he still pulls the trigger, it gets canceled. Now they don't have the combo. This is catastrophic for the Guangzhou Charge. It's gonna have to be all on the back of this grab blade now.
Yeah, everything that they were doing with his composition was based around that one moment. And he just dropped the ball. He just completely dropped the ball. I mean, we were watching his view there. We were on his camera, and he just went way too deep. He wanted the perfect EMP instead of a decent one, and he was scouted out and just killed instantly. He was way too greedy with that. I mean, they could still win this fight, but that was like a free win in almost every case. I don't know if we...
Okay, well, we're going to have the picture-in-picture down here at the bottom just to take another look at it, even though we already saw it from his perspective. Just pushing way too greedy.
Yeah, look how greedy
Happy.
he was. Insane.
Unbelievable. Rio in the meantime into the back line, has the Primal Rage pulled out. Eileen gets the Nano Blade, gets rid of that Immortality field, but Shu again going to be taken down by a Pulse Bomb from Prophet. Eileen with a final swipe gets rid of Bedosian, but Prophet finds Kwong. Happy striking back with a Tracer of his own, manages to get rid of Marvel, but the Supercharger is still rolling for the Seoul Dynasty, and Prophet is on the hunt. He wants to get the kill onto Happy.
You needed Krong.
Will not be able to get it yet.
Yeah, you needed Krong to keep that fight going. He's down, he can't bubble anyone, he doesn't have the grab. He's going to rejoin shortly, but Seoul Dynasty, positional advantage. Here's the rally from Chara. This is their last shot.
Pushing their way forward. Bedosian nearly with an Amp Matrix ready to go. And a little bit of fire. Rio getting some decent cleave damage. The grab comes out. Immortality a little bit too late. Cannot keep Prophet alive. And it seems like the grab is going to be enough. Marvel is here on the Wrecking Ball, but he's all by himself. And the Bob isn't going to be offering up too much damage, so can't get the kills. The cap will come in OT, but that was so dangerously close for the Guangzhou Charge when it really didn't have to be.
It really didn't have to be, but it was well executed at the end. Krong rejoins. Everyone at Seoul Dynasty is actually grouped up to give him the perfect grab. And they were in that room, so you don't have a lot of flexibility there, but he was pretty lucky, too. I mean, that was definitely defendable for Seoul Dynasty. But they do finally get the cart rolling. Vince is going to swap back over to this Torbjorn to try to control the high ground with this turret. It's very good anti-dive because the turret has that tracking, but it is focused down.
A little too late to try to keep it alive, so we'll just have to wait for the CD to come back up so we can throw out another one.
Still very good delay from Seoul.
Yeah, absolutely. Still under 2 minutes with the cart just now getting through the portcullis. So this is going to be, potentially a really good hold for the Seoul Dynasty. Dive comes in with that nano boost. Prophet finds yet another support with a pulse bomb. Left, right, and center. Fantastically done from him. Looking for the knock off the side of the map on the slime. Rio will manage to find it, but that's about all he's getting done with that Primal Rage. Prophet falling low after getting poked out. Will be forced to use the recall, and with the respawns coming in, the faster run back here for the members of the Guangzhou Charge. They do push back against the Seoul Dynasty, forcing them around the corner.
You see how much time this turret buys even on the retreat here. Seoul Dynasty have to regroup, but Guangzhou Charge doesn't get the cart moving that far, and actually not able to get those chase kills immediately like they wanted to. So Seoul Dynasty kind of cheats death a little bit here. They get to back up and regroup. They're going to have that Supercharger ready to go. Both support ultimates online. They can make a real stand here on this bridge. Pulse going to be something that Guangzhou Charge has to play around right now as well. On Iceball Bridge, it can always get scary.
It's going to be a really close fight, though. Guangzhou Charge have a plethora of ultimates coming up. Krong's not too far off from the grab. Rally nearly there from Chara as well. But Seoul Dynasty getting a single pick buys them so much time.
Yeah, a little bit of poke coming through here, trying to get that Molten Core online. That could just be what seals the deal on the defensive B in that choke point. If he can get that online, he should.
Oh, the pulse somehow not going to be sticking
So
to Rio.
unlucky.
Yeah, I mean, considering how consistent Prophet has been thus far, just assassinating the supports, misses out on the biggest character on the enemy team. Blade comes out from Eileen, however, but a great stun is there from Slime. They manage to take him down, and Kwong goes off the side of the map, likely getting pushed back maybe by a whip shot here. Gets a right click as he falls down to deny the kill is what I would anticipate.
Yeah, definitely.
Prophet, however, plays up over onto the cart, trying to displace Char. They get the stun, the flux comes through, they pull him up into the air, and now Shu is left to his own devices and will get finished off. OT starts bleeding away. Krong would love to get there, has that grab nearly ready to go. They get the touch from Happy, but he does not last. Krong again pushing back forward, pops the bubble, comes in with the Graviton Surge, but they have an Immortality field. They also have the cart all to themselves. Just here, midway across the bridge, is as far as the Guangzhou Charge will make it. Seoul Dynasty looking great on this defense.
Yeah, it was either a whip shot or a halt. I think that knocked Krong off the side, and
Yeah, it could have been the halt as well.
Yeah, you pointed out the right click there denies the kill and also denies some of that ult charge from coming through. But that's actually a pretty. I think we're gonna get a. Yeah, it is halt.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna get a view of this. So watch this. So when he pulls him here, he was bubbles a little bit late, and then he right clicks to deny the kill. That takes away some of the ult charge. But the halt there is actually what really started that defense for Seoul Dynasty, because then they're able to set up for the Molten Core on the point, and then the rest of Guangzhou Charge is kind of staggered. They can't really regroup and have a real 6v6 fight. And that's something that just shouldn't happen on the bridge. I said earlier, halt, you got to be careful about that on Eichenwald Bridge. I know it sounds like, well, Wolf's just trying to look for anything to say. I mean, everybody knows that, right? But these like this do happen, and if you're not ready for it, if you position yourself a little bit off to the side, then you're going to lose your push just from a right click from Marisa alone.
Is that it?
Yeah, she's pretty strong, as it turns out.
Yeah.
The Seoul Dynasty looking like they're still going to be rolling with the Orisa, perhaps on the attack. Would be interesting to see, but I think at least for point A, that could be pretty viable here. But then lacking the verticality for point B might be a little difficult. We'll see what happens. They're moving forward. They TP around the side. Now we just have to see how they're going to try to engineer this approach. Prophet getting up close and personal with Happy. Headshots in. Eileen stunned in the back.
I like Guangzhou's defensive composition more than I liked Seoul's. I like the Winston. You have a little bit of counter dive potential. Fitz going to do attack forward here. I don't know how I feel about that as much, but
I mean, it's still great counter dive. So as long as you can play with the team, get the turrets in behind the barrier so it's safe. It's really going to help protect the flank. So I actually don't mind this at all.
Yeah, he has to get to the point for it to give him the real value. But if he does get there, yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, they are getting there.
Given the way that they're advancing right now, they all pile in on top of Rio. Just don't give him an opportunity to leap away. Absolutely melt through him. And Prophet goes for a wraparound in the back line. But he can be grouped up. Stun comes in onto Krong. And they're all just grouped up there on the staircase, so Marvel can just continue to farm ult charge. Already the point cap getting ready to come in, and yeah, they're just not going to be able to drop down to try to contest this, so a stagger just going to be coming out onto Krong now as the rest of the team tries to exit.
Yeah, and Fitz barely did anything. It's actually just the tanks that got outclassed. Like, Fitz sitting at 30% ult charge when they cap. He had his turret on the side for anti-flank, which is important. I mean, don't get me wrong, but definitely not the impact he was looking for. It was really just the tanks in the neutral. Marvel and Gesture crushed Rio and Krong, pushed them back, and then they had full point presence, and they couldn't collapse back in because of the torp.
Oh my god.
Stressful.
Yeah. Look at the damage focus there. Rio slowly pushed back up towards full. Bubble's going to be coming out as he jumps into the back line. Wants to get that Primal Rage online. Immortality field from Bedosian going to be absorbing that pulse bomb, and the Flux will go ahead and finish off Rio. So one ult, one kill. Can't get the halt there to pull them off the high ground, but the cart for now can get ready to roll through this archway.
Seoul in total control right now of this game. Now the Blade here should be a one-team fight for the Charge. I mean, they have that ultimate online. There's no great counter. They should probably hold it now, actually, that Marvel is dead. See if they want to commit.
I'm not quite sure why he was up there by himself. As Fitz gets poked low, but we'll just go ahead and overload.
It's kind of puzzling, but Eileen is going to get to hold this for another fight, so that's kind of 2 team fights that Guangzhou get. But yeah, assuming that he executes it well, I mean, things can go wrong, and they can and will go wrong in Overwatch.
Yeah.
He's got a grab, too. Like, oh, Prophet's backdooring. Chara knows he's going to have to come. Does he know?
Okay, they finally
do
see it, but they have to get there in time. They barely touch. 1.9 meters left to go. Oh, Prophet nearly makes that happen. Eileen with the Dragon Blade off screen does clean up multiple kills, but oh, Prophet nearly takes that one out from right under their noses.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to replay that Dragon Blade at some moment in the future, but I mean, that was Chara was. I mean, he's a slow-moving hero in Brigida, so. You know, you can't blame him, but that was a close call. All right, they still have that grab, and they have high ground here. This is suddenly becoming holdable for sure for Guangzhou Charge. They're starting to kind of eke out an ult advantage here. I mean, they have an ult advantage. I'd even go as far as to say at this point, because this fight is going to lead to another Dragon Blade. I like Seoul taking this path, though, instead of trying to go through the center. I'm going to break through the top.
I have the pace set well for now, but Eileen's going to be taken down, so the Dragon Blade going to be delayed if the rest of the Seoul Dynasty can push down now on top of the members of the Guangzhou Charge. Krong trying to build up that energy. Still has the Graviton Surge, uses it. Recharger still alive, Immortality Field is there. Rio gets rid of Slime with the leap, and Krong will send Gesture off the side of the map. Cart continuing to inch forward here as the DPS duo for the Seoul Dynasty play forward. They will not have the sustainability that they need in that little fight there, so we'll just get taken down.
This is the fight that is the scariest one for Guangzhou because they used all their ults minus the blade, right? The nano blade they're going to have soon in that fight. Rio had to primal there because the shield placement was too good, actually, from Gesture when the Brav came out. They just couldn't follow up the damage there, so Rio was a perfect primal. But he didn't want to use it. He had to use it. He was forced to use it. And now, you know, things are going to get a little bit tougher here on the defense for Guangzhou. They have the blade. Let's see if they can get value out of it again. Last time, obviously, it was, I think, a triple kill off screen that helped them defend. We'll see how this one goes.
Dojo nearly eliminated there. Focus coming out from Eileen. The Nano Blade is ready to go. Prophet, can he find yet another pick onto Shu with this Pulse Bomb that he's been holding on to? Hart moving closer and closer. The Blade's going to be coming out. Flux is there from Marvel. Pushes him up into the air, finishes off Rio, but Eileen does so much damage with the Dragon Blade. Finishes off Gesture, and it's just Slime left standing at the end of the day. 1 minute and 20 seconds left to go. And again, 1.37 meters for the Seoul Dynasty to close this out. There's going to be a Roadhog and a Reaper now coming in for Seoul.
I guess Chekhov's Roadhog made an appearance after everything we said at the beginning.
We talked about it. I think it's the second time you made a Chekhov reference.
Yeah, I know. I keep doing that. It's the Beetlejuice Roadhog. I don't know. But it comes out here, and it's going to give them sustainability on the point. They traded the Flux in that last fight, so that if they had held that, obviously you wouldn't have swapped, but they're just going to go for broke here and hope for this almost unkillable comp to find success. Might as well swap to Moira if you're doing this. Pulse doesn't kill.
Gesture. Yeah, it does not. Immortality Field comes out. Bionade, however, connects on the 4, and Gesture's going to be taken down. In all likelihood, going to have to swap over to something like the Wrecking Ball, perhaps, if we join in here as there's just 30 seconds left. But he does have the time to want to mosey on over with this Orisa. Seems like that's what he's going to look to do since he does have the ult nearly on its way. But now with the kills coming through in the back of the Graviton Surge, things start looking extremely dire for the Seoul Dynasty. They had a wonderful setup with the defense, but now suddenly might just be full health. Prophet going to be finished off as the deflect comes in. Knew that he had to just die right now to try to get back alive and into the fight.
Dragon Blade builds were just too consistent. He's got another one here too. Marvel's knocked off.
Push him away. He's got a touch. They again stun him. He barely makes his way over to the cart. Now rolls out. Rio with the primal rage over. Finds everybody inside the castle. Gets a kill onto Badoshin. Finishes off the turret. Jumps back down. It's going to be landing into the Molten Core, which has since killed off Happy. But he dashes through. Gets rid of Fitz. The blade gets pulled. He's looking for a kill. Looking for Gesture, who is fortified up, but just doesn't have that much HP. It will get finished off. Gesture finds a halt onto Rio. Prophet is alive and cannot make his way over to the cart. Would not have been able to clutch it out against that many members of the Guangzhou Charge. So Guangzhou will successfully defend on the bridge. So very close, nearly with that backdoor coming in from Prophet. But they pull off this defense against a massive time bank. And they are now at match point 2-1 in this series.
Really close, though. Really, really close game. What a hold from Guangzhou. 4 minutes plus. They had to break through, and they did. And it was just off the back of Eileen building consistent blades and finding value out of them. And things looked dire, right? After Krong got knocked off the side, and he fell to his death, and Guangzhou's attack was halted. It felt like, oh, man, is this the end of the momentum that they have on this map? Is Seoul just going to crush them? Then Seoul gets the first take on A with a Tourbillon attack. Get on top of the point, win the tank war, massively ahead in terms of that bank. It felt hopeless, but just blade after blade continued to be successful. And unfortunately, the Tourbillon pick, which got them A very quickly, or at least that was the idea behind it, didn't find as much success when he wasn't able to get into position almost ever heading towards that bridge.
Yeah. Well, rough tidings there for the Seoul Dynasty. A bit of a heartbreaker. You know, likely felt that they had that one very much in their hands, and they just let it drop, fall to the floor. So Guangzhou Charge, one map away from closing out this very close series. But let's see if we can tie things up yet again as we get ready to move into Volskaya for our next map. That's going to be coming up in just a few minutes, so stay with us, guys. We'll be back with more Overwatch action in a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Alrighty, we are back and at match point right now. Guangzhou Charge pulling off a massive hold against the Seoul Dynasty there on Eichenwald. Means they are up 2-1 in this series, and Volskaya Industries could be the map to decide it all. But like I've been saying, this feels like this very well could be a 5-map set. So Seoul Dynasty, we'll see if they can swing back, get the momentum in their court again, and tie us up 2-2.
Yeah, that's what they really need to do here. It's kind of puzzling to see, a crazy hold like that hit so hard against a team that had ult advantages, a team that's running a Torbjorn, which makes it hard to execute dive like that with the defensive Genji. And I think Seoul, momentum-wise, the rug was definitely swept out from under them this time. It's definitely now the game is in Guangzhou's territory, and they're going to have to rip it back away. We're seeing more compositional diversity from Seoul Dynasty in general. Obviously no one really wants to talk about the Roadhog attack there that we saw at the end, but
yeah.
They're willing to change things up. They're running attack Torbjorn. They're using Torbjorn to defend oftentimes on these, these kind of desperation situations like we saw on B for Havana. But Guangzhou Charge is playing standard, and they're finding a lot of success with it. So, as much as standard as we know to be standard, right? What we expected to see coming into this, because nothing's really standard. We might not see anything like this in our next two series, who knows? But what we expect to see, what we're kind of seeing in NA, etc.
Yeah. Well, out the gate, Guangzhou Charge first on the defense here from Volskaya, and it's just more of the same. Happy this time going to be shifting back over onto the Tracer, which has been, decently impactful for the Guangzhou Charge. A little bit surprising that he's not going for the Widowmaker here, given the sight lines available for, both points of Volskaya. But wants a little bit of extra mobility and to be on a pick that can't get punished quite as hard as a Widow, I suppose. Whereas Seoul, we'll see if this is going to be the long TP around the side, which it seems like it's going to be, as they all go for the left door. Scouted for the moment by Eileen. No, okay, we'll just be pushing forward as Prophet swaps back over onto the Reaper. So Reaper McCree for Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, they really want this Reaper. They showed it out of the gates for a second, but swapped. I think it might have been teasing, but it has a lot of staying power on the point. It's very difficult to stop this once they get on the point, and actually it's a weak reaction from Guangzhou. They're already on it. I think they just have to give it up.
Slime. Yeah, Slime is taken down. Prophet maintaining the corner right now as the bubbles come out. Rio has to jump up onto that high ground, but there's such high punish onto the tanks that have to play the point here because of Fitz with that flashbang, and then Prophet can just hold down primary fire to finish people off. You can see he doesn't really give a damn about the Zarya bubbles, just continues to press forward, break through those shields, and just get the kill. So a triple kill there in the fight for Prophet as they go ahead and have a 6+ minute time bank.
Look at how quickly they rush to B2. It's not because they have like a sick ult that they're gonna unleash here on B if they get there as soon as possible. Prophet doesn't get up on the high ground. It's just because they want to get on the point and take that fight immediately again, force the same situation where they can chip away at the edges with Fitz on McCree and then be on the point and bust up the tanks with the Reaper.
And Matrix is out. Fitz is going to be using that to try to find the pick. Flashbang not going to connect as Happy Peel's back on that high ground, but already 2 ticks getting ready to come in for the side of the Seoul Dynasty here on the point as the Deadeye is ready to go. Happy going to be taken down. He'll go ahead and pop the ult, looking for a target. As that pulls the trigger a little bit early, just trying to chip down the members of the Guangzhou Charge as best as possible. No DPS in the mix right now. Fan in the hammer onto Rio, taking him lower and lower to try to finish off that Winston, and they will. They just have to clear the points. A recall comes out, and that is going to be it. One of the fastest caps of Volskaya that I have seen in quite some time, at least from recollection. 5 minutes and 17 seconds is enormous.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I mean, the thing is, this is another one of those Seoul Dynasty comps. You look at it, you go, okay, like, success, you know, that was unusual, but really well executed, very clearly well prepared. And the execution was great. Like, you know, you see the rush into B with the Reaper, and if you don't touch the point, then obviously the cap just comes through. So you're kind of forced to come in and take that fight. And you've got a Reaper who does massive damage in the front line. Then you've got a McCree on the other side that's chipping away at anything on the point. So it's just difficult to be a tank in this moment. So you've got to rely on, you know, your Tracer in this case, and Fitz just kills him immediately. He just kills him without even a flashbang. Just left clicks him as he's trying to approach from behind, and it's just like, nah, I'm good actually. And at that moment, it's almost lost. You know, on A they try to recontest because there's, you know, you want to buy some time, and you're not going into B with a ton of ultimates if you mess up that contest. It's not like the Death Blossom is going to be ready, or it's going to just give you a free win on B, a double cap. It's just the sheer speed at which they got to the point and how well they executed that really took Guangzhou by surprise, I think. And now they're just going to play Tracer Ashe on defense. Pretty normal here, nothing out of the box. We're out of the ordinary, thinking outside the box. Well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yep. It's all right. Dynamite going in. I'm just going to be looking to poke out where possible. Stun onto Rio. They drag him back in. Bionade has to be used to keep him alive. The first healing comes through on the back end of that engage. Now he'll jump in behind the shield. Starts getting a massive amount of clave damage in. Pushes his way up to 44% towards that primal range, and they cannot finish him off. Shu just holding these Bionades, using them defensively rather than trying to find picks against the Seoul Dynasty.
Happy's down.
Prophet. Yep, gets a very nice headshot kill here on to Happy. Now is looking for Eileen, who's forced to use the deflection, but Happy's still in the back line. Almost finishes him off, if not for that armor pack coming in from Chara. And the healing tossed out by Shu. Good boulders here from Marbles, consistently hitting members of the Guangzhou Charge, getting the max length of that stun.
Prophet's got a pulse. Guangzhou Charge here, and they're just playing around this blade at this point. If they can't get a pick, because they're playing it so slowly, you're just going to have to wait for that slow blade. I mean, they can nano Rio in this fight and get a primal. Looks like that's what they want to do.
Nano onto Rio, jumps into the back. Window is out, though. Primal Rage coming through, looking to displace people out of that immortality field. Marble going low and Fitz, yeah, gonna get stomped in the end. Eileen dashes through, manages to find 3 kills inside the garage. That will be a team wipe. That will be the cap coming in. But already Seoul Dynasty can at least rest easy and know that they will have a superior time bank. But that's not what they want. They obviously want to hold back the Guangzhou Charge and end this here before they can even go into OT rounds.
If they can shut down this first blade push, I mean, there's no nano, so I don't even know how successful this can really be. It's not like you can hold it either, because you can build another one quickly, and you're already down on timing, so you have to use it. If they hold this, they can build an ult advantage, is what I was going to say, you know, and try to lead into. And I mean, right now, if you're Guangzhou, this is terrifying because you really feel the pressure to win this fight instead of waiting because of the timing. But if you mess it up, it could be even worse. Like, it's a pretty lose-lose situation every second that goes by here for Guangzhou. So they're trying to get a grab. It looks like they're just trying to play around Krong's right clicks here to set up for that grab, but it's still so far away.
Drive at the back line, the bomb's going to be thrown out onto the point. Flux finds Rio, and Marvel will finish him off with the Primal Fire while he's in midair. Looking for the boulder, turns around, hits Char up. As the rally will now expire. Have the spot out on the Happy, so are perfectly aware of where that Tracer is at. Plays around the backside, and the Guangzhou Charge will just go ahead and retreat. So they don't get too much more charge. Krong on the high ground now actually gets a little bit more as he pokes out onto Marvel. So grab will absolutely be online.
Yeah, it's going to be ready. He's got 90 energy as well. This is going to be Guangzhou Charge's potentially their best chance to take this point ever. So the blade needs to be good. The execution is going to have to be fantastic here. Nano Boost is ready as well. If you're going to have if there's not going to be a better chance in this one, realistically.
Nano Blade is out. Eileen making his way down on top of Marvel. Falls low, and Rio will get finished off. Fitz, having swapped over onto the McCree, manages to get rid of Krong. Now Eileen with a sliver of HP is trying to survive, but Prophet is up in his face. Manages to take him down, and now it's going to be, again, another hold. The grab never came out. It looked like the Guangzhou Charge maybe thought that they did not need it.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
now it's all they have.
I think that you might be right. Like, I think there was at first this feel of, well, I better use it for the the respawns coming through. Like, we're gonna have this fight with the blade. Nano Blade's gonna do massive damage. Then we'll grab at the last second to make sure they can't retouch. And then as the fight went on, Krong's like, well, now I don't even want to waste this because we're losing this fight, so I'm gonna hold it and try to use it for the next one. But I mean, this is such a great defensive setup here for Seoul Dynasty. They have both peel for the point with the Reaper, and then the range damage coming off of Fitz is the poke that helps deflect Guangzhou Charge's approaches to get to the point, right? I mean, this is a really phenomenal comp. We're not really seeing anyone play like this. We didn't in the double shield meta, not really. But it's working out extremely well for Seoul Dynasty here on attack and defense.
It's been a while since we've seen the McCree Reaper. Bubble there on the Rio just to try to build up because he keeps consistently taking so much damage. Krong should be nicely charged, but Rio, you can see, time and time again, he tries to poke his head out, keeps falling low. The Nano Boost has to be used on the leap in just to try to keep him alive. As Happy gets a nice headshot on a Fitz. Prophet punching away at the Winston where possible. The grab comes through. Eileen with the blade gets rid of Marvel. Now looking for a little bit more. Forces the Wraith walk there from Prophet. Shoving him back, still holds on to a Death Blossom, but getting a setup for that is going to be very challenging. Marvel swapping back over onto the Wrecking Ball, makes his way to the point, forces them back, and Prophet gets cut down. Still holds on to the ultimate for a little bit longer, but can they stave them off the point? They start pressing their way in, trying to keep things contested here. Guangzhou Charge fall down below 2 minutes, but it's just pick after pick going the way of the Guangzhou Charge as they look to close this out. Prophet TPing over onto the point, makes his way into the corner, pops the ultimate, but instantly gets absolutely annihilated by all 6 members of the Guangzhou Charge. So it doesn't get to do much with the ultimate, but Seoul Dynasty still did a lot with their time.
Yeah, they really
chewed
did.
up almost 4 minutes off the time bank from the Charge after they capped A. And I mean, just look at the disparity there.
There's quite a disparity. Almost 4 minutes the difference here. And for the comp that Guangzhou was running, I mean, it was a strong one. The execution was pretty solid. I mean, Seoul Dynasty just dealt with the dive really well with the Reaper, having that extra sustainability. I think this is going to be the sleep.
It's just Shu being good. Oh, yeah, the sleep dart, yeah, straight in onto Prophet. I mean, even if the sleep didn't hit, it didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been bionated and would have been unable to be healed. Not that anyone could heal him anyways. And it was super. Yeah. It's not a hard. I mean, Shu's had a great series. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he's my front runner for player of the match if they close this out. But,
yep.
But you know, he saw the teleport, right? So it's pretty easy. I was gonna say though, I mean, part of the reason why Guangzhou finally were able to finish that was because Eileen had another blade ready so quickly. Eileen's blade build times have been insane. Junkrat, yeah, that might have been a misclick to try to do the teleporter out here. I don't think they're actually gonna run the rad. Yeah, just gonna be normal here.
Saw it a bit in North America, not necessarily for 2-point capture, but has been making a little bit of a resurgence from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, Junkrat's good right now for sure.
Yeah, a very niche pick and one that you would absolutely anticipate to see on the defense rather than on their attack here. So not much time to work with the Guangzhou Charge. Rio already taken a ton of damage on that initial leap in, and Ocean gets the headshots through to finish off Eileen. So instantly, good time by coming in on the backside of that kill.
Especially because you're looking for Nano Blade, you know, with this composition. Sure, you can get a pick. Maybe Rio gets on the point, has a bubble, and things can get out of hand very quickly. But otherwise, you're hoping for Nano Blade to be main value. Remember last time, though, on their attack, we saw the Nano Boost come off for Shu onto Rio, and they did a lot with that. So maybe they can find some more success here even without the Blade, because Shu's build time on this Nano Boost is so fast.
Yeah, I mean, he's been building that faster than anybody else has been building any of this game right now. Mortality Field comes through, fits the headshot onto Eileen, going to be shutting him down and delaying that Dragon Blade even further. So you're talking about those really fast build times that he's been having. He's not having a good time of it right now. Pulse Bomb out from Profit will not manage to find any targets, but now they have the Amp Matrix thrown in from Badoshin as well to just continue to stay involved with Guangzhou Charge. Keeps them contained back through the initial choke. Strong falling low, Profit down to 9 HP. Now has that recall available. Hold on to it for a little bit longer than he would have anticipated. Pulse Bomb out, however, from Happy to find a kill and Fitz will cut him down. Gonna get 2 for 2 thus far as Rio pops the Primal Rage, gets inside the garage. A ton of damage coming through. The turret, honestly, doing some serious work here in Fitz's absence. But Grab comes in. That will eventually be the cap for the Guangzhou Charge. They had to dump the majority of their ults there just to try to get across this line. So the cap will be coming in, but now they're playing against a rally as well as a Molten Core.
Yeah, I mean, with all the cards stacked against them, though, after their first push failed and their second one didn't go so well, and then eventually failed, I didn't think they were going to get any ticks. The fact that they were able to successfully cap that with a really nice grab set up from Rio, and then they have a Blade on B, I mean, that's kind of best case scenario for Charge. They might be able to steal away a tick here and maybe have a solid defense and take the series away from Seoul, prevent that last map of control. I mean, there's a real chance here this Blade finds something.
Anything they can possibly get is going to be absolutely massive for them. Immortality Field used, stun comes in, they knock him back, they finish him off. Molten Core going to go ahead and try to gate everybody else off the point. Rio's in the back line, has that Primal Rage, but Focus Fire is still just so damn much for him to try and deal with. Profit finds another Pulse Bomb, takes his life along with Shu, but it might just be worth it. Happy on the point now, trying to get a pulse of his own, up and ready to roll, but he's still 30% away as Kwong will fall, so now they don't have the bubbles offered up to try to keep people safe from the CC that is constantly being pumped out by Slime. Profit swaps over onto the Bastion as Eileen rejoins with a Doom Fist, but even the passive shielding coming through from his damage is just nowhere near enough to survive. The Guangzhou Charge will not be able to get anything done on point B.
Yep, no success. Really nice defense there from Seoul Dynasty to shut down the Blade. Molten Core being available makes it a lot easier. And the Immortality Field, you know, they kind of set it up to where it's a pretty lose-lose situation for Eileen because he sees all the targets. Immortality Field comes up, then while he's trying to walk on his way out, there's a Molten Core between him and his escape path, and just kind of stuck and trapped there. This is probably, no, I thought it was going to be Prophet's death there because Chinese observers really like to show us that, but it's going to be the grab here and set up for Eileen to get massive damage done with that dash.
Yeah.
And that was
led to him getting that Blade ready.
Yeah, and that's really nice setup from Guangzhou Charge. They opened up the point with the Winston dive through. Everyone on Seoul has to retreat to the side, puts him in perfect grab range. Seoul's going to run into this same composition, the Reaper and McCree. And they're going to try to, again, just force the tanks of Guangzhou Charge into a really uncomfortable position. But it's not going to be the Winston this time. It's going to be the Orisa double shield with Sigma. So there's a lot more damage mitigation at range, at least with this one, versus the McCree. And you can outrange with Happy on this dash. So at least Guangzhou has adapted very quickly.
Changing it up. Charge is going to be scouting here. The third person and what? Okay. Krong gets a kill on a Marvel. I'm assuming that this is on the back of, you know, maybe like a 2-tap from Happy.
He's looking for that Rookie of the Year nomination still, you know. He's like, notice me.
You know, why stop there? Why not just go straight for MVP?
Might as well.
Win them both. Win them both, Krong. Well, Fitz is swapped over onto the Widowmaker now. He's looking for those high-impact picks. Take one person out and instantly move forward as a 6-man squad to try and take the point, get moving. 4.5 minutes here. Still a massive time bank for the Seoul Dynasty. Shot's not really lining up yet for Fitz. He's trying to get that hit onto Happy.
Angle is really nice here for Prophet. He's kind of skirting around the edge. He's completely free to shoot shurikens out. Now Krong is kind of on his case a little bit, but it's actually kind of impressive to see what he's able to do by playing safe and just skirting around the edges.
Everybody pulled together. Fitz finally finds a headshot that he was looking for, and it works a treat. Shara going to be out of the fight. The healing cut in half. Kane, however, does manage to get rid of that long-range pressure from Fitz. Dashing him through as Marvel loses out on his shield. Kinetic Grasp going to be burned as they make their way onto the point with the first hit getting ready to come through, and Prophet gets a melee kill, taking down Eileen. Falls low himself, but Happy still on that high ground, manages to get that headshot to take him out. The bomb going to be rolling in, stops right here in front of the point. The barrier is going to be coming up, and the Seoul Dynasty just kiting their way back to try and play safe. Fitz returning, gets a shot, takes Happy out of the fight. The long-range aspect for the Guangzhou Charge now going to be eliminated with no way of bringing him back through.
Eileen's Blade.
Swap over onto the Tracer.
Eileen's Blade can be paired with the Gravitic Flux here. Just cannot get picked. You know, he cannot have his head in Fitz's crosshairs. So the most important thing right now for the Guangzhou Charge is that Blade.
Nice thing for Guangzhou is they're slowing down the Seoul Dynasty. Taking this clock lower and lower. 3 minutes as Seoul finally makes their way back to the point. Looking for the second tick now. Guangzhou Charge in a rough spot, have to try to reapproach. They get the flux, they pull 2 up into the air. Immortality Field is there to greet. Stuns coming out, and Happy gets rid of 1. Eileen draws out the Dragon Blade, falling low. Stuns coming through, they try desperately. They keep him sustained, they just cannot do it. Now Prophet pulls a blade of his own, goes inside the garage, gets rid of Shu, comes back over. Supercharger going to be finished off, but needs a lot more than that. Prophet will not be able to survive.
Yeah, that was a really
the
big
majority
risk
of what they had, and they just cannot get across the line.
That was a really big risk.
Charge still hold them back.
I cannot believe Prophet committed there. You've got a big time bank. You're sitting at 230. You don't need to Blade there. You know, the fight is nigh unwinnable. I mean, if he gets a little bit more value, sure, maybe things can change. But when you're really hoping for a lot with that Blade, and that's something they could walk in with right now and have a great chance of success.
Okay, well, Fitz can also just do that, and maybe that'll work. But either way, Prophet going to be starting from scratch. Happy doing so much work in that last fight as well. Came up with multiple picks for his team. Now has that pulse pump online and manages to use it well. Window going to be coming down from Shu on that back flank angle, and he gets rid of Pedosian with that. And Happy right up in front of Fitz's face. Finishes him off. They move up to 92.2%, but Happy is still wreaking havoc, looking to get that next pulse online, and suddenly this was looking like a surefire victory for the Seoul Dynasty, and now the Guangzhou Charge are holding all the cards.
I mean, it reminds me of Eichenwald. Feels like I'm getting a little bit of deja vu here. You know, Seoul Dynasty is superior time bank, all advantages in terms of ults. Guangzhou Charge, you know, back against the wall, and then we just see great performances, clutch performances from the DPS line and the tank line. Seoul lose their ults and then fall apart. They're going to have another Dragon Blade, but they're not running the Ana, you know? I mean, this is not a surefire win. And they still have to, you know, get a tick on B. If they get A, it's not just A to win the map anymore. I mean, we might be looking at the draw territory here, even if they win this fight with the Blade.
Could very well be. They start making their way up towards the corner. The flux is absolutely massive. They drop back down to the ground of the Immortality Field, keeping everybody alive so far from the side of the Seoul Dynasty, but they're still hovering very dangerously low as Happy is just farming this pulse bomb from the flank on the tanks. Prophet, however, finds the melee shot, gets rid of Eileen, and still holds on to the blade. Would love to hold that if he could, but no. Wants to draw it out, wants to ensure that they can go ahead and get this cap. Mortality Field's going to be finished off with the pulse bomb from Happy. Manages to find 2, but Ocean and Fitz both going to be taken down. Slime swinging away, however, does manage to find some kills. Prophet will clean one up, and the cap comes in. Heroic effort from Happy. Thought maybe, just maybe, it was in time to try to turn that around, but now it's just a minute on the clock for Seoul to close this out.
They've got that extra armor for a few more seconds here, and they're going to have 3 ultimates online. I mean, this is definitely winnable, absolutely. Put your telescopes away if you're a Seoul fan. We might be seeing Game 5 here with a 2-2 scoreline.
I mean, their ult line is good, but so is the Guangzhou Charge's rally. The Amp Matrix nearly there with a Dragon Blade. It might just be enough.
It's going to be close.
He now has that ready to go, but Happy going to be taken down. Nice stun coming in, but Ocean gets the finishing blow. Waiting, trying to get topped up, and thinking a ton of damage, has the duck in. Hug the Supercharger for his dear life, but Eileen manages to find him. Takes out the Cowboy. Now he's likely going to have to swap to try to join in on this fight as we are down to 10 seconds. Telescope back out, perhaps, Wolf. Here comes Eileen. Dragon Blade going to be drawn. Looking for a little bit more. Tries to get the finishing kill there onto Prophet. Can't quite do it. Just swapping over onto the Wrecking Ball, but there's no one to touch. And it is, in fact, a draw. So we still maintain a 2-1 scoreline.
Yep, this is not the 2019 format where that would be a win for Guangzhou Charge in our 4-map series. Going to play that 5th map, where Seoul Dynasty has a chance to bring us to that rare 6th map, which is, you know, it's first to 3.
Not
but
something
everyone
that I
thinks of
banked
it as
on.
best of 5, and we're going to the 6th map. But yeah, it's first to 3. I like to call it a best of 5 because I think that resonates with people more. But yeah, it just, you have to get 3 wins. Because of draws and things like that. And just to make a uniform, good format. I like to change our format this year. That's actually, to be honest, like when I found out that we were changing it to this format, it was almost more exciting than traveling to homestands to me. I was like, yes!
Well, this is at least something that we still have.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, too true, too soon.
I'm sorry.
But I'm excited to see how this series has progressed. I mean, we're going the distance. Seoul Dynasty almost looked like they were going to throw that one away, but we're still in it. And,
yeah,
I mean, if they win control, we get another control map. So the series continues.
The roller coaster for the Seoul Dynasty fans certainly does continue. So still in this, but now need to win 2 rounds of control back-to-back. We're going to have Nepal coming up in just a few. And we will see if they can make it happen, force us into yet another map if they can pick up victory on Nepal. So don't go anywhere, guys, because it's just a wild ride that you just don't want to get off.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, welcome back. We go deeper into this series. A draw on Volskaya means that we are, in fact, going to be moving into a map 5, but the scoreline still 2-1. Seoul Dynasty still need to win out 2 maps of control, starting with Nepal if they want to find success.
Yeah, so I guess we can go ahead and spoil it. We can go ahead and mention it. Seoul Dynasty going back to Prophet on tank, so he's going to be playing the Zarya again, it looks like. Makes a lot of sense. Gives them more flexibility of their DPS line. I definitely think we could see on Gardens the Pharah come back out. So, you know, I wouldn't mind to see that from Illicit. There's definitely...
well, this is Nepal, so there is no Gardens.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. I was thinking Lijiang in my head. Well, maybe...
You can do it on Village.
Maybe on Village, yeah. I don't know about Sanctum. I mean, Sanctum kind of makes me feel like how they ran it last time, but I don't think that's probably not a good idea. You're like, it's Nepal, and I'm like, yeah, so on Lijiang Tower, like, this is how they would play it.
It's okay.
But, like, if it were Lijiang Tower, that's what I would expect to see Achilles. But we're jumping right into it. No wait time.
We are. We are just going to go ahead and start rolling through it. Will be Village as our first round of Nepal. And we'll see what the Seoul Dynasty in particular do have prepped for us this time around. Will it be more of the same that we saw on Oasis, or will it continue to change things up? Because it has been a very diverse cast of heroes that we've seen brought out from them throughout this set. I mean, bringing back the McCree Reaper, and it worked a treat for them for the most part. So we'll see what they do have for us this time around, and whether the Guangzhou Charge are going to start being a little bit more flexible. Eileen again is going to be showing that Junkrat. I'm not sure if he's going to be rolling with it.
He's clearly prepared to play it, like, no doubt. I don't think he's going to end up playing it here. I think that Junkrat is growing in popularity because he probably, you know, I mean, he's definitely, like, seen a rise due to his buffs, but, like, potentially even more so because Genji is buffed and so popular right now.
Yeah.
And obviously the changes that got pushed through to Genji on live today are not in this client. And there is the Pharah, so I really like how he ran the Pharah last time. Like, the execution was really well done. And Guangzhou
was fantastic.
Like, this time they don't even have long range hit scan to counter it. So
speaking of which, we do have Fitz with a long range hit scan, gets rid of Shu, but the rest of the team not doing so hot for the side of the Seoul Dynasty that lose out on 3 members, including both of their supports. Eileen getting the headshot onto Slime with the shurikens is a rare one to see. Fitz is going to be changing it up, swaps over onto the Sombra, and Illicit going back to spawn, just moves over to the Genji. So going for a bit more stock standard with Jester on the Winston and Slime on the Brigitte.
yeah, I mean, makes sense. You unfortunately can't really run the Pharah into this anymore after you lose the first fight.
Ooh. Close to the hack there. Almost certainly would have led to a death for Happy. Fitz going to be forced out, however. Doesn't get much done. As we do see the sleep dart connecting there on a Jester, but will be woken up safely and returns to the rest of his squad. Point right now, Guangzhou Charge in control of 30%. See how far they can take this, as Jester will get taken down. It's going to be a trade out though, as she will fall. Healing cut in half, but the front line broken down. They need a bit more than that for the Seoul Dynasty if they want to make their way over on this point and get this lockdown coming through. Rio continues to poke out, getting good cleave damage coming in. As the stick not quite going to connect.
Still
Recall
waiting
comes
for
in,
it.
Happy, landing right in front of him, but doesn't get taken down. And Eileen off screen dashes through to take out Illicit. So the fight continues to look good for the Guangzhou Charge. Prophet, however, does manage to find one, and he's very well charged up at the moment.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, the point control here, definitely to Seoul Dynasty. Can they stick to landing? Rally committed, a little bit.
The Rally is committed to hacks onto Eileen, so cannot use that blade yet, but no real damage getting pushed onto the Genji, and Prophet, with all of his energy, will just be taken down. Guangzhou Charge just have to use the Rally, and they still manage to hold down on the point.
I was pretty skeptical about the Rally, I'll be honest, but it was just barely enough. And they get to hold on to those crucial ultimates. The Blade and the Nano Boost here are going to be available for the next defense, and they're going to have that grab online. So Dynasty still so close yet so far to that EMP that they've been trying to build since they swapped composition. They've got one shot at this.
Even if they get this in the fight, they have to try to be ult efficient about this, and also somebody needs to touch. They finally do manage to do so right in the last couple percentage there. Illicit's going to be taken down. The Bionade's going to be locked in. Graviton Surge catches Eileen with the Dragon Blade drawn. He pushes out around the corner, gets stunned up, gets melted. And already still 2 members gone for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. And they cannot make their way onto the point to keep things rolling. Had to invest so much just to shut down the Dragon Blade, and then they're so far away from the point. So that is going to be the first round going to the Guangzhou Charge.
Yeah, it's crazy how much, you know, when you run a comp like what Seoul is swapping to, how much you're so dependent on your ultimates and how you're going to lose most neutral fights, you know, ultless until you have those massive ults online. It's crazy how much you could get so close to that big ult fight, but when you don't get the first cap, you're just so, you're chasing your tail, basically. You're so close to what you're looking for, but it feels like the closer you get, the further away you get. And because like you said, even if they did win that EMP fight, which didn't really happen, then Guangzhou, if Guangzhou said, okay, I'm going to let you EMP, then they just save their ults and come back and retake the points. Lose-lose. So they're running it from the start here out of the gate, so that's going to make things a lot easier this time than swapping to it from a far top and being behind. And Guangzhou's,
I mean, we're just...
I was just saying, Guangzhou's running this Reinhardt May comp we saw from the beginning earlier.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're kind of just going back in time to Oasis, different map, but same compositions being shown by either side. It's going to listen this time to, starting off with the Genji Sombra, but the push forward from Guangzhou Charge is too much pressure. And the Dynasty just crumble underneath of it. Is it going to be taken down? Eileen gets that kill, and already a very solid start for the side of the Guangzhou Charge. Get the first lockdown on this point yet again.
And that was really well played by Guangzhou Charge. They forced the fight in that choke where at short range like that, your Reinhardt's going to do way more damage than the Winston can. Obviously, with hammer swings, you have May to slow everyone. I mean, it's the perfect comp for fighting in close quarters. But at the same time, Fitz is building a very fast EMP, so this could be a fast retake if this next upcoming fight goes their way. They don't even need the blade necessarily to win this one because there's nowhere near a sound barrier ready. It could just be the EMP alone.
Yeah. Well, EMP now online. Fitz looking to get into position as they try to spy check him. He gets the bubble, moves up, manages to hack 3 with the EMP. Profit instantly coming up with a kill on a Krong, but Happy strikes back. Manages to find Gesture. Bionade goes out onto 2 members on the side of the Guangzhou Charge, but neither Eileen nor Shu are under fire. Profit will get Rio, but again, the Guangzhou Charge just counter push against the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, and they only
have these cards stacked in their favor, and they still managed to persevere.
Yeah,
Nano Boost is invested onto Fitz.
They use Nano Boost here onto Fitz, and the fight is still...
Why?
I mean,
is he swapping?
I don't think so. I don't think he should either, but... I mean, he needed that for the blade now. I mean, the thing is, even with the Nano Blade, you're going into Grab Shatter and Blizzard.
Sound barrier as well.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you do? You're screwed if you're listening right now.
Yeah, you're just not going to have a good time. Let's be totally frank. They need that EMP, but they only have 25% left, so they don't have time to build it necessarily. They got to fight now, looking for something.
Oh. Yeah, finishing off Char would have been absolutely huge there. Got rid of that defensive ultimate, but they just can't quite finish him off. Hack now out on a Krong means that he cannot use the Graviton Surge for the moment. Bionade connecting on the 2, but Eileen cancels that with the Ice Block. Fitz nearly has another EMP online, but the grab is going to get thrown out there by Krong. Locks up Profit, and just a percentage away from his own Graviton Surge. He'll get taken down. Sound barrier now in response of the Blade as we enter into overtime, and the Guangzhou Charge look to take this series. Shatter comes in, doesn't find much, but Happy finds Slime. The Seoul Dynasty have to stay glued to this point. Fitz with an EMP, dies by Chara's hand. Gesture comes back in, pinned off the point, taken down. Grab going to be lobbed in from long range, but nobody else is there to capitalize. And the Guangzhou Charge will be able to take Nepal 2-0, not allowing the Seoul Dynasty to really get on the point at all. No percentage gains coming through, and they close this out 3-1.
Yeah, the execution of the composition they're running with Sombra is not crisp, and it makes you wonder if that's perhaps why they weren't running it at all when they were playing against Shanghai Dragons last week. Perhaps they're just not comfortable with it. They don't feel like they're great at the comp right now. The EMP fight, that fast EMP we saw from Fitz because he just farmed it so quickly, going in the way of Charge so one-sidedly just off of a Coalescence defense where they just defended with no other ultimates used so easily, so flawlessly. That's that's something that's really going to it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth if you're the Sombra team. We do have to talk about our player of match where, in fact, Shu was robbed, and it's Eileen and not Shu for some reason.
I mean, Eileen is our player of the match. I mean, it's very much between both of those players. They both played phenomenally, but given the amount of shutdowns that resulted like you were talking about, he was very much on the front runners. Phenomenal on a play throughout the entire series from him. But Eileen, as well as usual, performing extremely well. Get in there. Over the Tracer, which has been a bit of a rarity for him as of late. But then, of course, him on the Genji, he just builds up these plays so rapidly. He continues to find just high impact.
His Icon Ball defense, I think clearly also his performance on the Genji on Volskaya, where he was able to build that blade to help them close out the map there, close out that defense.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I like to see a Genji player who's multifaceted and how much he's able to do in terms of building fast blades, how successful his blades are, but also just how successful he is bladeless. In the amount of lethality he has on the map, how dangerous he is. And Eileen is again one of these Genji players. Is a Chinese player on a Korean roster. I mean, I say one of these Genji players is a Chinese player on the Korean roster as if that's like a thing. It's like a special role.
So many of them.
There's like he's one of these players. Like actually, he's like the only one of these players, and it's a very hard place to be. But he still finds consistent success. Seoul Dynasty fans definitely going to be unhappy with how this series ended, because it felt like they were so close, yet so far. But there's always next week.
Yeah, I mean, the one tick on Volskaya, the push on Eichenwald. So many moments that they got so very close, but just fell short ultimately. So yeah, I think this is very much going to be a bit bittersweet from them. I'm interested to see if they're going to continue tooling around with Profit in this off-tank position. I think that Zarya, while overall is quite strong, still could use a bit of work, slow building ultimates towards those Graviton Surges compared to Krong. I think that if they can fix that, then a lot of these team fights that they lost very much could have been won, and maybe we would be heading into another control map right now to see if they could close out this series. But clear progress from them. It still is a feels bad moment as if you're a fan of the Seoul Dynasty to just see them take another loss. This is now 0-4 for them in the standings. So very rough tidings. The Guangzhou Charge stabilizing, advancing, coming for that top spot yet again versus the Chengdu Hunters. So a good victory for them. We're not done yet, though, guys. That was just match number 1. Took 2 hours to get it out of the way, and like I said, this is going to be a very late evening for those of us who are in North America still, or very early if you're over on the East Coast, because coming up next, we have our second series of the night. This is going to be the London Spitfire versus the Hangzhou Spark. And again, could be another series that plays out very closely. We'll have to wait and see what happens, and wait is what we're going to do, because we have a break coming up, and we'll see you guys in just a few minutes for that next set.